Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
The battle lasted only a short time. With a similar level difference, 10 times the number of people suppressed is enough to firmly grasp the victory. In less than 20 minutes, hundreds of Sakura country professionals fell into a pool of blood, and no one escaped from the battlefield alive. However, the kingdom professionals are not without losses. Dozens of kingdom professionals were killed. Wars like this, victory is always accompanied by sacrifice. This is inevitable. The corpses of the sacrificed kingdom professionals were gathered into a pile. When the surviving kingdom professionals around saw this scene, they were both excited and a little sad. This war that besieged the professionals of Sakura Kingdom made many professionals of the kingdom establish life-and-death friendships and comrades in arms. The death of their companions made them feel like they were stabbed hard in the heart. Wang Lizzie is dead. Before the battle started, we were still chatting and thinking about the future. In the blink of an eye, he was a cold corpse. Zhou Yu is also dead. He died to save me. If he hadn't blocked the sneak attacks for a few days, I would be the one lying here now. Bury it. A top professional at the late 9th level sighed slightly and said, "Sacrifice is inevitable. Even if all of us here are going to die in the next moment, we can't back down. Don't forget what those Sakura country professionals have done in our Xia country over the past year." Upon hearing this, the kingdom professionals present suddenly became murderous again. There were more than 1 million veteran professionals a year ago, covering all countries in the Blue Star world. Naturally, there are also professionals from Sakura country among them. Some people relied on their status as professionals and possessed strong strength to become lawless in the Xia kingdom. Although each incident was eventually resolved, the damage caused to the people of Xia country could not be erased. Every time the news broke, the people of Xia kingdom were filled with hatred. There is a feeling of shame that cannot be vented. But as ordinary people, they can't do anything. Now, they have become professionals. We came to the floating island where professionals from Sakura country gathered again. Naturally, old and new grudges must be settled together. The hatred for the little life and the national hatred are engraved in the bones of every Xia people. Time cannot wash them away. Only war and killing can heal the hatred in the hearts of Xia people. You've been a wolf that you haven't raised well since you were little, especially those days when you become a professional. Once you become powerful, you will become a wolf. Our mission is to kill all these evil wolves and not give them a chance to grow up. You're right. We want to use war to tell those little ones who is their father. Thousands of kingdom professionals present were filled with enthusiasm. After cleaning the battlefield, they quickly gathered together and prepared to participate in the next battle. But at this moment, a beautiful figure exuding dazzling holy light suddenly descended from the sky. This is a 6-winged angel of love. She has the same petite figure as all the angels of love, paired with delicate and beautiful cheeks and 3 pairs of furry angel wings. Make her look very cute, just like a little Lolita. She wore a white gold magic dress and held an exquisite magic staff. The magic wave released around her was extremely powerful, far beyond the reach of the kingdom professionals present. Lord Angel. The kingdom professionals present did not dare to neglect and quickly saluted respectfully. As professionals in the kingdom of heaven, they must have respect for the strong men in the kingdom. Not to mention, angels are still their protectors. The 6-winged angel of love nodded slightly. His pale golden eyes swept across all the kingdom professionals present, and then waved the magic staff in his hand, pouring out a bright rain of light. This is the resurrection magic that is exclusive to the angel of love. As the light rain enveloped the corpses of the kingdom professionals on the ground. Within a moment, all the dozens of sacrificed kingdom professionals were resurrected. Saw this scene. The thousands of kingdom professionals present suddenly widened their eyes, as if they had seen a ghost. This was their first time fighting together with the Angel Legion, and it was also their first time seeing such a magical resurrection technique. This shattered their perceptions. Reality is different from games. Seeing a dead person resurrected in reality is a very shocking feeling. Damn it, are you so awesome? That boy Chin Shu's body was cut in half, but he can still come back to life. Too strong. All the kingdom professionals exclaimed. At this time, the six-winged angel of love said in a cold voice, "Your strength is too weak. You must follow the pace of the army and do not leave the battlefield area without authorization. There are more than 10 million foreign professionals in this world. After you level up, you will have many opportunities to participate in battles." That's what Lord Angel said. We know we must follow closely behind the army. The kingdom professionals spoke one after another, the respect in their expressions even stronger. Seeing this, the six-winged angel of love nodded slightly. Then the angel wings behind him vibrated, turning into a ray of holy light and disappearing. As soon as she left, the kingdom professionals took a deep breath. Although the angels of love who look like little Lolita are delicate, cute, and harmless to humans and animals, the pressure placed on them is so great that they dare not even breathe loudly. Brothers, retreat. Listen to Lord Angel and raise your level first. More than 10 million professionals from Sakura country and Bangzi country will have something to play from now on. Without hesitation, thousands of kingdom professionals quickly returned to the main battlefield area and followed the army to encircle and suppress the wild monsters. In this process, their levels also increased rapidly. At the same time, the island chat channel on this floating island is also abuzz. The team of foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangzi that encountered the kingdom professionals was not just one, but many. They passed the news to the island chat channel, one after another. In addition, some teams encountered Lin Yu's Angel Legion and the top-level military legion. As a result, they were all killed before the news could even be conveyed. Of course, it doesn't matter. What's important is that news of Xia's professionals invading the floating island spread. Idiot. How come professionals from Xia Kingdom suddenly appeared on our island? Shouldn't they be on other floating islands? As far as I know, there are a total of 7 floating islands that appeared this time, and professionals from different national camps landed on different islands. Our floating island belongs to professionals from Sakura country, Bangzi country, and other countries. There is absolutely no reason for Xiagua's professionals to appear. Bean Sack. I just asked about the world rules of the floating island and learned that the angel army that invaded our floating island was not simply from the angel clan, but from the floating island numbered 014965. That floating island is the base camp of Xia Kingdom's professionals. The Angel Legion is loyal to the Kingdom of Heaven and was also established by a Xia Kingdom professional. In other words, we were not invaded by forces from another world, but from the Xia Kingdom. Crying search. Those Xia Kingdom professionals are in great trouble. God Smekta, how did Xiagua's professionals develop so fast? The same batch came to the floating island world, but they were already powerful enough to attack the floating island in another world. Could it be said that 014965 floating island has been conquered by them? Smekta? Conquest is definitely impossible. It should be that the ruler of the Paradise Kingdom accidentally found a way to cross our floating island. So he called on the Xia Kingdom professionals to come and invade us. No matter what, we must drive them out. Let them know that this is Smekta, the territory of our big stick empire. Idiot. Upstairs, where do you put our Sakura empire? Don't talk nonsense. We should call all professionals from various countries and gather them all in the third area. The longer the time passes, the more Xia Kingdom professionals may be teleported. As you know, the most abundant thing in Xia Kingdom is its people. We must expel them as quickly as possible. It's not about expelling. It's about killing all the Xia Kingdom professionals, Smekta. As long as this war can be won, Xia's future will be over. When we return to Blue Star, we will definitely be able to suppress the entire Xia Kingdom. Yoshi, that's exactly what I want to say. I have to say that countries such as Sakura country and Bangzi country still have cohesion. In a short period of time, more professionals gathered towards Area 3. After all, this is also a national war. The appeal is still great. Of course, it was also because of these little days and little sticks that they had no idea how powerful the army sent by Lin Yu was, so they seemed confident. The most important thing is, their main attention now is actually on the Xia Kingdom professionals. I thought that all the Xia Kingdom professionals who had traveled through time were similar to them. As long as they unite and gather the power of more than 10 million professionals, they will definitely be able to defeat Xia's army of professionals and achieve a glorious milestone in their country's progress. On the contrary, Lin Yu's army of angels was ignored by them. If only they knew that the total size of the army sent by Lin Yu exceeded 7 million, including angels, which were top-level soldiers, and there were more than 10 or 20 demigods among them, as well as a large number of saints and extraordinary. They were afraid that they would be so frightened that they would kneel on the ground. To put it harshly, Lin Yu's army can kill all the more than 10 million professionals from all over the world in less than half a day if they start a fight. They should be thankful now that they didn't really rally. And the main target of Lin Yu's army is not them. Otherwise, how would they have the chance to imagine the future in the island chat channel? It's too late to cry. The gaze returned to 014965 Floating Island, this side of the holy city. Lin Yu slept until noon before getting up, feeling extremely energetic. Just because he got too many benefits from Secretarian last night. There was some indigestion for a while. That's why I slept for so long. As soon as he walked out of the luxurious city lord's mansion, Lin Yu saw the army of holy angels gathered in the territory square with a scale of more than 2 million. They were withdrawn from the Runkle Prairie on Angelia's orders. Their next mission is to go to the Land of Plenty. 5 of the 10 cities of angels were also withdrawn. The remaining 5 cities of angels still remain in the Runkle Prairie. Continue to order the Orc Army and the Kingdom's Army to carry out a plan to clear out the remaining Orc forces on the grassland and other local force strongholds. My lord, the army has been assembled and can go to the fertile land at any time. Secretary N's elegant and beautiful figure appeared in front of Lin Yu, and she saluted respectfully. In addition, Carol and other craftsman angels have created 14 angel cities. In this expedition to the land of fertility, we can directly send 19 angel cities there. As the number of craftsman angels summoned by Lin Yu continues to increase, the city of angels is being built faster and faster. So far, Lin Yu's city of angels already has nearly 30 buildings. With the speed of the craftsman angels, I believe that there will soon be more than 100 cities of angels. However, these angel cities are all small angel cities. Lin Yu now has hundreds of artisan angels under his command, and he is considering assigning some of them to build the medium-sized city of angels. The medium-sized angel city far exceeds the small angel city in terms of combat strength and the size of the angel army it carries. Now, the number of Lin Yu's artisan angels has increased dramatically, and the resources are so abundant that they cannot be used up. The plan to build a medium-sized city of angels can indeed be put on the agenda. When Lin Yu informed Angelia of this idea, Angelia agreed without hesitation and said that she could send 300 craftsman angels to specially build the medium-sized angel city. This can achieve an amazing speed of building 3 in one day. Lin Yu nodded. The task was immediately assigned to the craftsman angel Carol. Later, Lin Yu came to the Lord's Hall. On the first floor of the hall, there are mountains of trophies piled up. There are incredible amounts of gold coins, equipment, blueprints, stronghold treasure chests, etc. There are tens of millions in gold coins alone. This is the total gain from the 3 battlefields. In addition, Lin Yu has a larger number of gold coins stored in his personal warehouse, directly exceeding 200 million. To be precise, it was more than 243 million gold coins. Most of these gold coins are contributions from professionals in the kingdom. Some are the daily taxes paid by professionals in the kingdom, and some are the transmission fees collected. Only a small part comes from underground gold mining. Whether it is teleportation between affiliated cities or teleportation to a floating island in another world, gold coins need to be paid. Especially the latter, the amount of gold coins collected is unbelievable. According to incomplete statistics, so far, more than 4 million kingdom professionals have been transported to the floating island in another world. Each person pays a transmission fee of 20 gold coins, which is more than 80 million gold coins. Just from this one project, Lin Yu made a lot of money. Of course, Lin Yu's move was not just for the purpose of grabbing the gold coins of the kingdom's professionals. The high transfer fee can make some weaker kingdom professionals give up the idea of going to the floating island in another world. After all, the opposite side is not a paradise, so they can avoid dying. And the powerful kingdom professionals would not care about this gold coin. If you go to a floating island in another world, you will definitely get your money back. If you are more lucky and kill the boss, or kill those foreign professionals such as Shaori, Xiaobangzi, etc., you will earn even more. In short, on the issue of transmission fees, Lin Yu and the kingdom professionals both have their own gains. No loss for either one. Next, Lin Yu summoned the 10-winged angel Elena, the angel of love Cheryl, and the saint of light Tiffany. Together with Secretarian, the 5 of them counted and processed the loot together. After the equipment, blueprints, and medicines were put on the shelves and sold, Lin Yu once again obtained more than 70 million gold coins. Plus the gold coins that exploded. Lin Yu's current number of gold coins instantly reached a terrifying 365 million. Lin Yu couldn't help but be amazed by this amount. In all the time he has been on the floating island, he has never obtained so many gold coins at once. If it spreads, it will shock all the professionals on the island. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately communicated with Myriad World's floating island and activated the summoning black hole. More than 365 million gold coins. 127 full-scale, large-scale angel legions can be summoned at one time, with a total number of angels of more than 6.49 million. This calculation result made Lin Yu take a deep breath. The total size of the angel army he currently has does not reach this number. It's a complete doubling of growth. When this summoning is over, the total number of my angels will directly exceed 10 million. The goal of tens of millions of angel armies has been achieved just like this. Lin Yu couldn't help but silently thank the kingdom professionals for their efforts. Soon, dense crowds of angels flew out of the summoning black hole. The army of holy angels and the army of fallen angels. All are mighty. In a short period of time, the square outside the Lord's Hall gathered into a vast ocean of angels, and even angel legions gathered one after another high in the sky. That scene was simply as shocking as it could possibly be. The fully armed figures, the neat legion formations, the fanatical faith, and the surging fighting spirit fully reflected the power of the angel clan. In terms of individual combat effectiveness, angels may not be the most powerful race in the universe. A low-level angel cannot defeat the famous Titan. But when various factors such as individual combat effectiveness, war literacy, and army size are added up, the angel army's war strength ranks second in the universe, and no race dares to claim first. Only the Void Demon Clan army that appeared during the Holy Demon War could compare with the Angel Clan. The battle between saints and demons. This name actually represents the war between angels and demons. Those races in the 10,000 Realms battlefield are just foils for the angels and demons on the battlefield of the Holy Demon War. I don't know how long time has passed. Finally, it was the turn of the high-level fallen angel to fly out of the summoning black hole. But this time, the hell monsters dragged out by the high-ranking fallen angels with chains were no longer just three-headed hell dogs, but also dragon-shaped monsters that were larger and more ferocious-looking. They are abyss dragons. The bloodline level is higher than that of the three-headed hellhound. The size of these abyss dragons all reached an astonishing height of over 200 meters. It looks like a battleship. Their appearance is similar to that of giant dragons in the other world, with 2 wings for legs and a bloated belly. On the surface of their bodies, densely packed dark red dragon scales are attached. Each dragon scale is at least 2 to 3 meters in diameter, layers upon layers covering their entire bodies. There are rows of horny protrusions on the heads of all abyss dragons, which are worn on their heads like crowns. They breathe heavily and sound like thunder. Between every breath and every breath, dark black flames of hell are spitting out. It was so powerful that the surrounding space seemed to be distorted by the fire. Generally speaking, just by looking at their appearance, you can tell that these guys are not easy to mess with. They look like the supervillain boss in fantasy movies. Follow Lin Yu's gaze. The information about the Abyss Dragons was also presented to him. Abyss Demonic Dragon. Faction, Hell. Initial level, early stage of demigod. The limit of growth potential. The peak of the mid-level true god. Introduction, The Abyss Dragon is an evil giant from Hell, Underworld, possessing extremely terrifying combat power. They are natural destroyers, killers on the battlefield. Special reminder: the Abyss Dragon is generally used as the mount of the God of Death. Once incorporated as a territorial unit, you may receive hostility from the God of Death in the Underworld. This initial level is on the same level as the 10-winged Lord Angel. It's just that the growth potential is not as good as that of the 10-winged Lord Angel. The growth potential of the Abyss Demonic Dragon is the peak of the mid-level True God. The growth potential of the 10-winged Lord Angel reaches the peak of True God. There is a big difference between them. However, such a high initial level also highlights how powerful the Abyss Dragon is in combat, far surpassing the Guardian of the Gate to the Underworld, the three-headed Hell Dog. The initial level of the three-headed Hell Dog is only in the late extraordinary stage, and it has not even reached the holy level. When he first summoned the three-headed Hell Dog, Lin Yu was shocked. Now compare it to the Abyss Demonic Dragon. Suddenly, I felt that the three-headed Hell Dog was a bit inferior. Lin Yu counted them carefully and saw more than 40 Abyss Dragons in total. Each knight of the Abyss Dragon was a 10-winged fallen angel. The other 8-winged fallen angels, as well as the 6-winged fallen angels, have three-headed Hell Dogs as their riding pets. As for the 12-winged fallen angel, he was alone. Maybe he doesn't like these two hell monsters. After all, the growth potential limit of the 12-winged fallen angels is the main god who controls great divine power. Even the Abyss Demonic Dragon is only the peak of the middle True God, with a high-level True God in between. The gap between the two is too big. It's normal to look down on the 12-winged fallen angels. Praise to you, the great Lord of Light, Supreme Creator. Lin Yu glanced away, and the high-ranking angels from the two camps immediately saluted him respectfully. Every angel's gaze was extremely fanatical. In addition, the terrifying Abyss Dragons and thousands of three-headed Hell Dogs also prostrated on the ground and lowered their heads towards Lin Yu. Fallen angels are their masters, and Lin Yu is their master's master. Facing Lin Yu, they are naturally infinitely loyal. There is even faith. When the fallen angels trained them as riding pets, they had planted the seeds of faith in the Supreme Creator deep in their souls. They are loyal to Lin Yu, a giant monster in the underworld, loyal to the Hades Emperor. The trolls in Hell believe in Lin Yu. If nothing else happens, the underworld and Hell will have a fight sooner or later. And there will only be two situations. Either the fallen angel camp will take out the underworld, or the fallen angel camp will join forces with the holy angel camp to take out the underworld. Get up. Lin Yu raised his hand and turned to look at Angelia aside and asked, "Has the Dragon Clan's army entered the land of plenty?" Secretary and closed her eyes for a moment. With the help of the mysterious power of the law of destiny, she overlooked the entire fertile region from thousands of miles away. Reporting to my lord, the dragon army has arrived in the land of fertility and has joined the army of the kingdom of Kilius. In this war, the Dragon Clan has sent a total of about 500,000 dragons to participate in the war. 500,000 dragons may seem like a small number, but it was enough to inflict a heavy blow to the army of the Holy Sea of Light. It is not impossible to even help the kingdom of Kilius win this war. It can be seen that the Dragon Clan is also very ambitious, trying to take this opportunity to eliminate the Holy Sea of Light and the other two human kingdoms headed by the Holy Sea of Light in one fell swoop. In this way, they dragons can land on land, occupying a large and fertile area. Angelia said, "On the 36 islands in the bay, there are about 800,000 giant dragons left, many of which are in their infancy. It is obvious that the Dragon Clan is serious this time." Hearing this, Lin Yu grinned. "It doesn't matter if it's true or not, I'll catch them all this time. One wave of war. Capture two major areas." Lin Yu discussed with Secretarian for a while. Then he dispatched an army of 2.5 million to the floating island in another world. As a result, the total size of the angel army on the floating island in the different world exceeds 4 million, plus 6 million top-level troops, which is a full army of tens of millions. This increase in troops is not because Lin Yu does not believe in the ability of the 12-winged Seraphimia, but he wanted to conquer the floating island faster. The sooner he conquers it, the sooner he can integrate that floating island with the floating island he is on and enhance the original power of the rules of the floating island world. If I could break the shackles of the world's rules once and for all, reaching the point where it can carry the true God, that would be best. Because in this way, he and the top demigods under his command can become gods on the spot before going to the battlefield of all realms and master divine power more powerful than the power of law. After transferring the 2.5 million angel army, he has 4 million remaining angels. Including the 2 million angels drawn back from the Runkle Prairie, the total is an army of 6 million angels. Of these, about 4 million are holy angels. 2 million are fallen angels. Lin Yu formulated 2 war plans for them. The army of 4 million holy angels went to the fertile region to suppress the kingdom of Kilias and the 500,000 main dragon army sent by the dragon clan. The army of 2 million fallen angels headed directly to the 36 islands in the bay, the lair of the dragon clan. Although it is a two-front battle, the possibility of failure is almost non-existent. The army of 2 million fallen angels alone is far smaller in size than the army of holy angels, but there are dozens of abyss dragons in their camp. More than 40 abyss dragons are more than 40 powerful men at the demigod level. This does not include those high-ranking fallen angels. According to incomplete statistics, there are nearly 100 demigod-level experts in the camp of this fallen angel army, and there are even more fallen angels with demigod combat capabilities. With such a powerful force, there is no reason why they cannot capture the 36 islands in the bay. As for the holy angel army, there is no need to worry. There are 19 cities of angels following them. Even if the true God comes, he has to say sorry first and then take a detour. Let's go. As Lin Yu's order was issued, millions of angels flew high into the sky. Like a torrent, it flew into the distant sky with great force. The marching direction of the army of holy angels is east. The fallen angel army headed south. The south side of the dark forest is adjacent to the sea. Passing through the ruins of the Naga kingdom, you can quickly reach the ocean and enter the territory of the dragon clan. Back then, the Naga clan, who were expelled from the sea by the dragon clan, used this path to land on land and enter the dark forest. Watching the 2 angel armies retreating, Lin Yu said to Angelia, who was standing next to him, after they capture the Fengrao region and the 36 islands in the bay, they will join forces and attack the Far East. Nature Elf Empire. As long as I take care of the natural elf empire, I can directly ascend to the position of island leader. My lord, don't worry. Angelia smiled and said, your dream will soon come true. In the long river of fate, she has seen the end of these local forces. Although the world often says that fate is unpredictable and the future has infinite possibilities, under the control of absolute power, fate will be determined. Lin Yu nodded. Zheng said that he would drag Secretary in to continue to understand the secrets of the law. Unexpectedly, someone came to report that a team from the Holy Sea of Light suddenly came to the Holy City and asked to be summoned by Lin Yu. Bring them to the City Lord's mansion. Lin Yu was going to summon the Illuminati cultists in the main hall of the City Lord's palace. He was a little surprised by the arrival of this Holy Sea team. Soon after, Lin Yu saw this Holy Sea team in the main hall of the city, mainly composed of temple knights. The leader was a cardinal wearing a white cassock with a red cloak trailing behind his back. It is worth mentioning that the cardinal is a woman. She is extremely beautiful and has a great figure. Most likely, the higher-ups of the Holy Sea of Light felt that female believers were more likely to be favored and favored by the Lord of Holy Light, so they sent a female bishop over. In addition to this Holy Sea team, Lin Yu also saw a group of dusty nature elves. There were more than 40 people in total. They were all bound by the forbidden magic chains and had no power to resist. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. The female bishop led a group of temple knights to kneel on the ground with great reverence, her expression full of fanaticism. It is an honor for our Holy Sea of Light to be summoned by you. Your humble servant greets you, my lord. Get up. Lin Yu nodded slightly. After all the Illuminati believers got up excitedly, he looked at the nature elves again. On the faces of these bound and imprisoned nature elves, he saw various expressions of horror, shock, and despair. They were in an extremely negative mood. Ever since entering the dark forest, the shock in the hearts of these nature elves has not stopped, and the waves are getting higher and higher. As we all know, the dark forest is a paradise for wild monsters and warcraft. As a result, after they came in, they could hardly see the monsters in the wild. Even if there are, they are only low-level monsters. All high-level wild monsters disappeared. As for the magical beasts, not a single one was seen. What can be seen is a team of professionals. At that time, a bad premonition emerged in their hearts. They suspected that something had happened to the natural elves in the elf garden. It's even possible that the entire fairy garden was destroyed. After traveling through thousands of kilometers of jungle and seeing the majestic and sacred city like a divine city, they were even more certain of their suspicions that the elf garden was gone. However, don't wait for them to feel sentimental. They saw dense crowds of angels flying out of the holy city. That terrifying number is at least several million. It's simply Angel Wang Yang. On the way to the holy city, they heard a temple knight claiming that the kingdom of heaven was a kingdom established by the Lord of Holy Light, with an army of angels gathered in it. They didn't believe it at first. I think this is the nonsense of those temple knights. After all, angels are a legendary mythical race that has never appeared in this world. And even in the battlefield of all realms, the angel clan has disappeared for tens of millions of years. How could he suddenly appear in their world? As for the Lord of Holy Light, it is even more impossible. The Lord of Holy Light is the founder of the Holy and Light Camp, the Supreme God, and is regarded as the Almighty Lord by the intelligent races of the Holy and Light Camp. How could such a terrifying existence come to pass? Not to mention coming to their small floating island world. Even if it came to the battlefield of all realms, it would be a big event that could shock all realms in the universe. But now, all their doubts have become reality. The army of angels has really arrived, and it is very likely that it has captured the entire dark forest. The Lord of Holy Light from the Holy and Light Camp also appeared. Sitting on the throne at the top of the hall, looking down at them, standing respectfully beside him was a 12-winged holy angel who was elegant, noble, and so beautiful that even natural elves like them felt a little suffocated. Admittedly, that is definitely not the true form of the Lord of Holy Light. Most likely the human incarnation of the Lord of Light. But no matter what, he must be the true Lord of Holy Light. Otherwise it would be impossible to gain the allegiance of the angel clan. Holy angels, loyal only to their creator. Ruined, the Lord of Holy Light has arrived together with the army of angels. It will inevitably choose to conquer the entire world. The fall of the dark forest and the war launched by the Holy Sea of Light in the land of fertility are just the prelude to the conquest of this world. At this moment, the nature elves present finally understood why those Illuminati believers declared war on the kingdom of Kilius. This must be an oracle from the Lord of Holy Light. At the same time, they also knew who had punished the Pope of Light, Wallace. It is the Lord of Light and his angels. In an instant, all the fog dissipated in front of these nature elves, but the more truth they knew, the more desperate they felt. The Lord of Holy Light, who rules the camp of holiness and light, wants to conquer this world. I'm afraid even the goddess of nature and elves they believe in wouldn't dare to say no, right? After all, the goddess of nature and spirits is the supreme God King. As for the Lord of Holy Light, legend has it that he has surpassed the supreme. Lin Yu was condescending, looking down at the dozens of nature elves in the hall, and asked lightly, "The Queen of Nature Elf sent you here to inquire about the elf garden?" "Yes, Your Majesty, the great Lord of Holy Light." The leader, a nature elf at the peak of the holy rank, stood up and saluted in response. Facing a terrifying existence that surpassed the goddess of nature and elves in terms of personality, even if she was in a hostile relationship, she could not feel any hostility in her heart, but only infinite awe. It's like a mortal can't muster the slightest courage to resist when facing a god. That invisible pressure was enough to make her lower her head. The beautiful woman-like natural elf hesitated for a moment and asked, "Your Majesty, the great Lord of Holy Light, has the elf garden been destroyed by the attack of your angel army?" "Good. Lin Yu nodded slightly. Then he added, however, although the elf garden was destroyed, the millions of natural elves did not die. They have embraced the holy light. You are a kind majesty. The beautiful woman-like natural elf is both happy and desperate. Happily, the elves of the elf garden are not dead. Unfortunately, they no longer belong to the camp of nature spirits. Sure enough, as in the legend, intelligent beings fell into the hands of the angel clan, and there were only two outcomes: death or becoming a believer in the holy light. This is just a small floating island world, and it doesn't seem worthy of you and your angel army coming to conquer it in person. Light shines on the universe. There is no difference between all races in the world, and they should all follow the footsteps of the holy light. Lin Yu now had such divine words at his fingertips and said, your natural elf empire is very lucky, and you still have time to make the most correct choice. It will take about 2 to 3 days before my army of angels will descend on the territory of your empire. Hear Lin Yu's words. The dozens of nature elves present all trembled. There was a look of horror on his expression. Although they have been mentally prepared for a long time, they know that the army of angels will one day come to their empire, conquering their empire just like they conquered the elf garden in the dark forest. However, they did not expect that this day would come so quickly. The leader of the natural elf team, who is like a beautiful woman, wants to ask the Lord of Holy Light to let their natural elf empire go in the name of their god of faith, the goddess of nature and elves. But the invisible pressure made it difficult for her to open her mouth. Because the Lord of Holy Light has just said that light shines on the universe, and intelligent races in all worlds should follow the guidance of the Holy Light to welcome a new future. This sentence explains the determination of the Lord of Holy Light to conquer the world. It was impossible to let their natural elf empire go just because of her request. The occurrence of war has become an inevitable event, and the result will only be the destruction of the natural elf empire or surrender. Even as a natural elf, she did not think that their natural elf empire could withstand the attack of the angel army. Just look at the millions of angel armies that just flew out of the holy city, and you will know how terrifying their war strength is. Not to mention, the angel clan also dispatched the legendary war weapon, Angel City. And there are still nearly 20. With so many cities of angels, it is easy to conquer this world. In addition, she also saw a large number of black-winged angels, all of which exuded a terrifying aura of evil and darkness. Those black-winged angels, even legends, have not recorded their information. But her intuition told her. The war strength of those black-winged angels is more terrifying than that of the orthodox holy angels. They seem to be born specifically for war and killing. It can also be seen from here. The Lord of Holy Light is not absolutely benevolent. He still has a dark side. Just like those angels, they will not show mercy to heretics who refuse to embrace the holy light. Of course, they can only think this way, but I dare not say it to my face. In the hearts of angels and those believers of light, the Lord of Holy Light is always righteous, a just, selfless, loving, and merciful Creator. Blaspheming the Lord of the Holy Light is a greater sin than not believing in the Holy Light. The beautiful nature elf smiled bitterly and said, to this day, Her Majesty the Queen of my empire still doesn't know that you and your angel army have arrived in this world. Have to say, the means of information transmission in this world are too simple. Long-distance communication basically uses special magic stones and things with some kind of special imprint. For example, the leaves of the elf mother tree. After refining the secret technique, remote communication can be achieved. When the angel army attacked the mountain giant kingdom, the mountain giant King Von used the leaves of the elf mother tree to contact the elf Queen Bernina, who was thousands of kilometers away. However, these special magic items are extremely precious. Very few people have it. And if you want to use it successfully, you have to establish a spiritual connection with the other party. This kind of magic item is one-to-one. Just like the leaves of the elf mother tree in the hands of the mountain giant King Von, which carry the spiritual consciousness of the elf Queen Bernina, they can only establish contact with the elf Queen Bernina and cannot communicate with other people. Elf Garden is an independent natural elf force. It is not directly under the jurisdiction of the Nature Elf Empire. In fact, even the elf Queen Bernina herself has never been to the Natural Elf Empire tens of thousands of miles away, and she does not have any mother tree leaves on her body that carry the spiritual imprint of the Natural Elf Queen. Because of this, she failed to pass on the news about the Angel Clan. And if the Queen of Nature Elf wants to know information about the Elf Garden, she has to send an elf envoy over. It can only be said that the civilization of this world is still somewhat backward. You need to rely on the angel army to save it. Lin Yu looked at the leader of the Natural Elf team, standing in the main hall, and said, I will give you an opportunity to contact the Queen of the Natural Elf and inform her of the information about my heavenly kingdom. One of my 2 angel armies went to the Land of Plenty, and the other went to capture the 36 islands in the bay. If your queen is unwilling to embrace the holy light, she can choose a war zone at will. My army of angels will use war to make her lower her head. I see. The beautiful woman-like Natural Elf responded with a wry smile again. I will definitely bring your oracle to Her Majesty the Queen. If she were Her Majesty the Queen, she would have chosen to surrender now. Because she had witnessed with her own eyes how powerful the angel army was in war, and the towering city of angels that were like divine cities made her unable to have the slightest courage to resist. The most important thing is, she met the Lord of Light, the founder of the holy and bright camp. Who dares to be an enemy of such a great being? When the true God comes, you have to shout for mercy, boss. Lin Yu waved his hand for the Natural Elf envoy to retreat. Although they were captured, Lin Yu still gave them the freedom to decide whether to stay or go. Because no matter what choice they make, the outcome is the same. And in fact, after leaving the city lord's palace, this Natural Elf envoy did not leave the sacred city directly. Their eyes were attracted by the tall Natural Elf mother trees standing in the city. They did not expect that in the stronghold of the Angel Clan, they could actually see the mother tree of their Natural Elf clan, and it was so tall and prosperous. Lin Yu's Natural Elf mother trees are all full-level military structures. A full 10,000 nature spirits can be born every day. This level of Natural Elf mother trees does not exist even in the Natural Elf Empire. Of course, these Natural Elves will be shocked when they first see it. Then, they saw the Dark Elf mother tree and the Naga palaces surrounded by blue lakes. In the northeastern area of the Holy City, there are also a large number of craftsmen angels building towering angel cities. Say one more thing. After the summons just now, the number of craftsmen angels under Lin Yu has reached more than 1,000. They are all working hard to build City of Angels for Lin Yu. In just a short while, the Natural Elf mission witnessed the completion of a City of Angels. In a bright holy light, it slowly flew high into the sky. Immediately afterwards, this City of Angels flew straight to the eastern sky. Its controller is the 12-winged angel Rebecca. At this moment, Rebecca and others are leading the angel army to the Land of Plenty. And with the addition of this City of Angels, the number of angel cities that went to the Land of Plenty to join the battle reached a total of 20. What they saw and heard in the sacred city completely shocked the Natural Elf envoy. It even made them lose the idea of leaving. After all, if you leave now, you may have to come back later, so it's better not to leave at all. After getting permission, they found an empty stone house and lived in it. At the same time, contact the Queen of Nature Spirits who is tens of thousands of kilometers away. The main hall of the city lord's mansion. Angelia said, My lord, those natural elves have settled in the city. Do you need to plant the seeds of faith in their souls? This can directly make them your believers. Unnecessary. Lin Yu waved his hand and said, Use them to test the passive magic of the Paradise Angels and see how long it will take for these nature elves with firm faith to change their flag and embrace the holy light. Hearing this, Angelia suddenly understood. Nothing more was said. Here, Lin Yu looked at the red-dressed female bishop standing respectfully beside the hall and the temple knights with pious expressions, and said, You will live in the holy city from now on, and there is no need to return to the Land of Plenty. The war in another world has begun. You can choose to go to another world, or you can choose to stay in this world and join the war. Obey your oracle, great Lord of Light. The red-dressed female bishop and all the temple knights were very excited. The sacred city of the heavenly kingdom is the holy place in the hearts of these light believers. It is their dream to settle in the holy city. I think even the archbishops of the Holy See would be extremely envious of them. At this time, the red-dressed female bishop took out several pieces of space equipment and said respectfully, "Great Lord of Holy Light, these are the trophies our Holy See gained when they attacked the kingdom of Kilias. There are also some resources that are donated to you by the two believer kingdoms." Angelia took these space equipment and handed them to Lin Yu, who was sitting on the throne. Lin Yu reached in with his mental awareness and immediately saw a mountain of items. Equipment, medicinal materials, special metals, iron ore, food, etc. Incredibly many. No gold coins and blueprints. Lin Yu checked all the space equipment and couldn't find these two things. He was a little confused. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. It is impossible for such a large-scale war to fail to produce gold coins and blueprints. He immediately contacted Wanjie Floating Island to inquire. It was quickly learned that this was because the Holy See of Light had not officially surrendered to the Kingdom of Heaven, and none of the light believers on the battlefield were under his command. The war in the Land of Fertility is a war between local forces. It's normal not to explode gold coins, blueprints, and other loot. The weapons, armor, and other equipment in those space equipment are not exploded. And all of them are human equipment made by human blacksmiths. Can only be used by Terran troops. Only equipment exploded by killing enemies can be used by any race and arms, and its equipment information can be viewed. You guys did a great job. Lin Yu did not hesitate to praise and said, "As long as your faith is firm and pious enough, you can receive my protection and gain eternal life. Even if you unfortunately die, your souls can enter my kingdom of God and become creatures of the kingdom of God. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. May the Holy Light be everlasting. May the Holy Lord be eternal." The red-dressed female bishop and a group of temple knights suddenly shouted excitedly. The Lord of Holy Light's personal promise was enough to drive them into madness. The forbidden land of the natural elf empire. A beautiful figure wearing a golden dress stood under a natural elf mother tree. She has a proud figure, a noble temperament, and skin as delicate as snow. A purple drawstring ties the belt. It made her figure more three-dimensional. The curves are curved, straight, and plump, with perfect golden proportions. The breeze blew by, blowing her light golden wavy hair, and her bright green eyes seemed to be shining with light. Every movement and silence make it even more charming and moving. She is the ruler of the Nature Elf Empire, the Nature Elf Queen. Throughout the entire floating island world, the Queen of Nature Elf is one of the most powerful people. Together with the Beast Emperor Webster of the Beast Royal Court, the Light Pope Wallace of the Holy See of Light, the Dragon Emperor of the Dragon Clan, and the Medusa Queen of the Medusa Empire, they are known as the Five Emperors. And among the Five Emperors, especially the Queen of Nature Elf and the Dragon King are the most powerful. Beast King Webster and Light Pope Wallace were slightly behind. As for Queen Medusa, no one knows how powerful she is. Because her existence is a legend in the floating island world, basically no land creature has ever seen her. Even the Dragon King has never seen that Medusa. The 36 islands in the bay ruled by the Dragon Clan are in the offshore, while the territory of the Medusa Empire is in the deep sea. Even the Dragon Clan is unwilling to approach that ghost place. In terms of influence, no one can surpass the Queen of Nature Elf. It can be said that the Natural Elf Empire is the most powerful force in this floating island world, stronger than the Holy See of Light. But at this moment, the Queen had a sad look on her face. Before the look of horror in her eyes dissipated, an extremely complex expression appeared on her beautiful cheeks. "Mother." The Nature Elf Queen cast her sights on the tall elf mother tree and said, "The mission sent to the Land of Plenty has finally received news." A human face slowly appeared on the main trunk of the elf mother tree. "Your Majesty, I see something bad in your eyes." "As you expected," the Queen of Nature Elf said. "When the mission just entered the camp of the Holy See of Light, they were forcibly imprisoned by the strong men of light. Due to the sudden incident, they were unable to spread the news in time. Until now, They were escorted by the temple knights of the Holy Sea of Light to the holy city in the dark forest, which is the capital of the kingdom of heaven. The elf mother tree wondered, why is this? The kingdom of heaven was established by professional lords from another world. How can it be related to the holy sea of light in our home world? The queen of nature elf smiled bitterly and said, the ruler of the kingdom of heaven is a human incarnation of the Lord of holy light who came to our world. How can this be? The elf mother tree, which had lived for who knows how many years, screamed loudly. Lord of light, an extremely ancient and terrifying great existence. Even the founder of their natural elf clan, the goddess of nature and elf, has not practiced as long as the Lord of holy light. There are even legends that it was the Lord of holy light who opened up this universe. Of course, there is no way of knowing whether it is true or false, because this is a legend recorded in the holy book of the Holy Sea of Light. As fanatical believers in the Lord of holy light, those Illuminati believers cannot boast too much. The elf mother tree said with a dull expression, if it is true, this is enough to shock the entire battlefield of the world. I don't think there will be any lies. The queen of nature elf said, our envoy saw the Lord of holy light with his own eyes in the holy city. Although his level is only at the demigod level, there is a 12-winged angel standing respectfully next to him. In addition, there are millions of angels in the holy city. They follow the will of the Lord of holy light and have declared war on the land of plenty and the 36 islands in the bay. If nothing else happens, the angel army will enter the battlefield today. The elf mother tree suddenly fell silent. These news are too shocking and unbelievable. It needs a good digestion. At the same time, it also understood why the Holy Sea of Light escorted the captured envoys to the holy city. That is the holy place of their faith. Moreover, the Holy Sea of Light launched an attack on the kingdom of Kilias without any warning, and the truth behind it has become clear. This is an oracle from the Lord of holy light. As fanatical believers, the believers of the Holy Sea of Light will naturally follow the will of the Lord of holy light without hesitation, with the support of strong enough faith. Even if the Lord of holy light lets them commit suicide on the spot, they will immediately purify themselves. The elf mother tree said, the fact that the envoy was able to contact Her Majesty the Queen shows that the Lord of holy light did not make things difficult for them. This may be the only good news. The Queen of Nature elf's mouth twitched slightly. Then he said, they have decided to settle in the holy city. Elf mother tree. The Queen of Nature elf rubbed her forehead and continued. The Lord of holy light gave us the freedom to choose whether to embrace the holy light before his army of angels conquered the land of plenty and the 36 islands in the bay. This is indeed the style of the holy and light camp. The elf mother tree said, however, whether to surrender or not is not something we can decide. We need to submit to the goddess of nature and elf and ask her to send down an oracle. The Queen of Nature elf wondered. The world is blocked. How can we contact Her Majesty the Goddess? Use His Majesty's Sun Elf crown. The elf mother tree said, there seems to be something wrong with this world. The blockade is no longer as tight as before. I can barely perceive a trace of the power of faith to cross the barrier of rules and enter the battlefield of all realms. During this period, I have been thinking of ways to contact Her Majesty the Goddess. I beg the goddess to send a miracle and pay attention to our family of natural elves again. It's a pity that every call failed to receive a response from the goddess. The words paused for a moment. The elf mother tree continued. If Her Majesty the Queen is willing to sacrifice the Sun Elf crown and use its power to call upon the goddess crown, I believe it will be successful. Hearing this, the Queen of Nature elf suddenly looked embarrassed. The Sun Elf crown is the most precious treasure of their natural elf clan. It has been passed down from the Holy Demon War to the present. The Queen of Nature spirits who has passed through generations. It represents the supreme authority of the natural elf empire and is also a symbol of the Queen. At this moment, the Queen of Nature elf does not put the Sun Elf crown on her head, but puts it in her secret treasure house and will only wear it on formal occasions. She was extremely reluctant to sacrifice the Sun Elf crown, because in addition to being a symbol of authority, The Sun Elf crown is also an artifact. Moreover, the Sun Elf crown also carries the power of the original laws of the Sun Elf, which has a probability of activating the wearer's bloodline and evolving into the legendary Sun Elf. Sun Elves are also one of the natural elves. The bloodline level is extremely high, beyond the ancient great elves. The Sun Elf is an extremely noble person when he is born. He is the perfect candidate to become the ruler of the nature elves. Unfortunately, for countless years, the power of the Sun Elf's original law carried in the crown has been consumed time and time again. Just after the Holy Demon War, several generations of natural elf queens basically relied on the original power of the Sun Elf in their crowns to successfully evolve into Sun Elves. But as time goes by, the Sun Elves appear less and less frequently. No new Sun Elves appeared for tens of thousands of years. Including her, she failed to evolve successfully. But even so, the Nature Elf Queen is reluctant to destroy the Sun Elf crown. That would be a huge blow to all the nature elves in this world. Is there no other way? Unfortunately, the Elf Mother Tree shook its lush crown a few times and said, although the Sun Elf crown was not made by the goddess of nature and elves herself, it still carries the blessing of the goddess's crown. Only its power can most directly call the goddess's crown. The success rate is also the highest. Her Majesty the Queen, the Elf Mother Tree said, I know that the Sun Elf crown is of great significance to our natural elf family, but this is a special situation. If the angel army captures the empire, you will also lose it. These words made the Queen of Nature Elf unable to refute. Although the Lord of Holy Light may not necessarily value the crown of their clan, after all, it is only a low-level true artifact. What is that great being not seen? However, once the natural elf empire was captured, the natural elves became believers of the Lord of Holy Light. The Sun Elf crown will also lose its purpose. Furthermore, the chance of her evolving into a Sun Elf relying on the crown is very low. Don't have high hopes. It is better to use it to connect nature and the elf goddess Mianxia and truly bring out its value. All right. The Queen of Nature Elf finally agreed. In this situation, she seemed to have no other choice. Then she went to the secret treasure house and got the Sun Elf crown. This is an extremely gorgeous golden crown, exuding a blazing light like the sun. No matter who you are, you will be attracted by its light. At the same time, it also releases an extremely strong pressure. This kind of coercion far exceeds that of a demigod and is the true power of a god. However, compared to the godly armor of holy glory Lin Yu wears, the power released by the Sun Elf crown is many times inferior. The divine armor of holy glory is a top-grade true artifact. The Sun Elf crown is only a low-level true artifact and does not even reach the level of a mid-level true artifact. But no matter what, such an artifact can be regarded as a treasure in the floating island world. For example, even the royal court of the Beast clan does not have such a treasure. As an artifact, it is also very strong, hard to destroy. However, the Queen of Nature's spirits holds the secret technique to destroy it. The reason why there is such a secret technique is that the natural elf craftsman who created it prepared it for a rainy day. Once a strong enemy invades the natural elf empire and the natural elf queen is unable to compete, she can give the powerful enemy a heavy blow by destroying the Sun Elf crown. But obviously, it is useless to use the Sun Elf crown to fight against the angel army. So it can only be used to connect with the goddess of nature and elves. The Queen of Nature Elf did not hesitate and immediately handed over the Sun Elf crown to the Elf Mother Tree, along with the secret technique of self-destruction. Soon, under the influence of the secret technique, the Sun Elf crown began to vibrate uncontrollably. The light emitted becomes more and more dazzling.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.